Aha! Aha! Gotcha! Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Now, you know I love dragons, right? I absolutely adore dragons. Well, Julie from Pouring Your Heart Out makes moulds, and one of her moulds is a huge dragon. Very detailed, absolutely huge. And she's very kindly sent me one. I couldn't believe it when it turned up in the post. I was like, what's this? It's gorgeous. Now, I have had it for a few weeks and I keep looking at it thinking, this is going to be difficult. And I was doubting my own ability to actually get what I wanted from the mould. But you've got to do it, haven't you? You can't just sit and look at something. It's not going to go away. I needed to make this dragon. So this is the video of the very first time I'm making this dragon. Wish me luck. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Julie for sending this to me. I could not believe how big it was. It is huge and it weighs a ton. And it's come all the way from Australia and I am so happy. Thank you so much, Julie. I will link Pouring Your Heart Out in the description box below and I'll try and link her shop as well. So this mould is made from really high class quality silicone. It is really elasticated and you can pull it around all over the place and it is fine. Now it needs to be because in this mould there are undercuts. Not just a few, there are tons. And I'm having a good look at this mould to make sure I know what I'm dealing with and where I need to colour things. I'm also checking out the detail on where things need to be coloured because there is a lot of detail here. Like this. There's so many undercuts. See those? Didn't even see those first time round. So here's the thing. This mould is too big for my pressure pot. It will not go in my pressure pot. So with that out the question, I'll just have to get on with it, won't I? Right, we are going to colour this. It's a matte mould. So we're going to use Emma's colours. So for those of you that haven't heard of Emma, she is the Tiny Turner and I will put her link in the description box below. She makes her own pigments and although they are on the higher end of the market, they are stunning. I have never come across pigments like it. They are expensive though, but they are well worth it and they go so far. Now I'm trying to get my brush in here to show you what I'm doing and I'm making a bit of a pig's ear of it because I'm trying to do it in front of the camera. Obviously aware that my hand is in the way. And everything I do, I'm trying to get you to see it too. Obviously, when you do this, you won't have that problem. You'll be able to pull it around all over the place and you won't have an issue at all. I just got to be mindful that you need to see what I'm doing. So I'm using this Inferno colour, which is a gorgeous golden bronze colour, absolutely gorgeous, on his mouth, inside and outside, but not the entire head. I'm going to try and keep to 3 or 4 colours in this because I don't want it to be a multicoloured dragon. I know I'm going to want purple in here, right? So this one's poison. And we're going to do tips of the wings and the horns in this one. Yes, you knew it. I had to put purple in it somewhere, but I'm trying to keep it minimal. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway. I decided to use this poison for the undersides of the base of the wing. I do actually clean that off later and just leave it in the pointed areas. But I'm doing the ends of the wings, all the points, the horns, as many as I can find. I'm colouring. I'm also going to colour the spines of the wings as well in this colour because it is my favourite colour. I try to keep it minimal. You know what it's like. It's not going to happen, is it? I just love purple. This colour is so vibrant though. Now I'm not going to put you through the whole of the colouring of this. I will cut out bits, I will speed up bits, and I will make sure that I show just the important parts. Well, what I think the important parts are, but I'd really like you to enjoy the process too. Because if you was making this yourself, for yourself, you'd want to do everything just right, wouldn't you? And that's what I'm doing really. I'm actually really enjoying myself. I do love the process of colouring moulds. So I actually use this poison colour on part of his head as well. And now it's time to give the mould a good clean up. Now obviously I'm covered in mica dust. And everything is covered in mica dust pretty much. If you're allergic to mica dust, please do wear a mask. I wanted to clean up the areas that are going to have a different colour. Baby white works wonders for this, and so does a cotton bud with some isopropyl alcohol on it. As it was a larger area, baby white was ideal. And as if by magic, I have a nice clean mould again. It didn't take that long, to be honest. Doesn't it look great now that those areas are defined? And I'm just showing you here the wing points where I've cleaned off part of the area and kept the mica in the wing points. So now it's on to the next colour, and I'm going back to Inferno. I've decided to colour the feet with Inferno, the talons, the claws, that area. As I've used Inferno on the mouth area, I didn't want that to be the only area on the dragon with this colour. I needed it throughout the dragon as well, and so I decided to do the feet, the talons, the claws, up until the ankle part with the Inferno colour to coordinate the colours across the dragon, if you see what I mean. Again, I had a bit of a clean up, and now I'm using for the first time Supernova. This is one of Emma's pigments that is a ghost pigment. And to be honest with you, I have absolutely no clue what colour this is going to be. But it looks quite fascinating, so let's find out together. I'm putting it on a white mould, remember, so any colour won't look the same when you've got black behind it. That's when we figure out what actual colour this is. Could be yellow, I have no clue. But I'm going to go for it because I think it's going to be wonderful, whatever it is. I will be filling this mould up with black resin, but on white it looks pearl-ish. Beautiful. It's not going to stay that colour, but even on white it's absolutely stunning. So with this colour I'm going to colour the back, the tail and the upper parts of the legs. And this is what it looks like when I've done that. It's very, very difficult to see because it's a white mould, but it is absolutely shimmering. What a beautiful colour. I wonder what it's going to be like with the black behind it. Another little mould clean up, and it's time for the next colour, which is Nether. Nether is a absolutely high pigmented blue. This is a white mould. Look at that blue. It is amazing. I don't know how Emma makes these pigments, but boy, she definitely made good pigments. So this is the final colour that I'm using, the really vibrant blue for the wings. But I am going to add a little bit more detail to this mould, as if it hasn't got enough detail already. It's got tons, but I want to overlap some of the colours and take off a little bit and put a little bit back on. The aim is to try and stop any hard lines from one colour to the next colour and try and get them to merge in the middle, or to create a soft pastel overlook over the top of a different colour. I'm struggling with words here, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. If you've got a colour and another colour right next to it, you're going to get a hard line. If you take some of the next colour off, and put some of the previous colour over the top, you should get a softer line. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I do that to the top of the legs and the back of the head. And it suddenly occurred to me he's got eyes and I haven't cleaned them off. So with a cotton bud and some isopropyl alcohol, I clean right the way round the eye sockets, including a bit beyond the eye socket, because once I've got the colour on the eyes that I want, I can then reapply the colour around the face. It makes it easier than trying not to take off or accidentally taking off colour that you don't want to. So take off more, do the eye, and then you can go over the top of the eye and the eye will stay the colour that you want. Whatever colour is on the mould first is the colour that you will see. So as long as I paint the eye separately, I can go round with the face colour round to the outside of the eye, and even if I get it on the eye, it won't make any difference. The eye colour is on there. Does that make sense? I hope so. And while I'm fixing the face colour, then I also touch up any bits that I may have rubbed off accidentally with my hands, where I keep pulling the mould around everywhere. While I was doing the eyes, I realised that the head colour and the neck colour were completely different, so I'm going to do the same with the neck as I did with the legs. Take off a little bit of the colour from that area and coat it over the top with the same poison that's on the head. Then I decided that the spine running down the back and through the tail also needs a little bit of that colour, so I go over the top. And all that will do is change the underneath colour slightly. It'll give it a little bit of a different tint. It should make it a little bit more purpley red. And finally, I thought the paws and claws were too stark a colour. I wanted to dull the colour down a little, so I decided to take off the higher areas and the claws and go over with a silver. So the colouring of the mould is done and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. This was a lot of fun to colour. There was bits all over the place that were hidden and difficult to get to, and I just thought it was so much fun. It was definitely a challenge and I loved it. It's all ready now for black resin. So let's just hope I don't mess it up. This is quite a deep mould, so I'm going to be using Let's Resin Deep Pour. I do have a discount code for Let's Resin that's on the screen. It's also going to be in the description box below, together with affiliate links. And 10% is always worth having, isn't it? So I need to be very vigilant with this and make sure that the resin goes in every little nook and cranny and hidden place. So I'm starting with the head, as I know there's a big gap between the mouth area. And I'm hoping that I'm going to get all the air out. As I'm using black resin, I'm not going to be able to see through it to see if there's any air pockets, and it's a very difficult mould to squeeze underneath. Usually I'd squeeze the mould to push the air out. Can I actually get to it to squeeze it? So that is a little tricky. I've got to make sure I get it in all the horns. I've got to make sure I get it in all the little spikes, and yeah, there's a lot to try and get right. This is the trickiest bit, definitely. I'm running a silicone tool, I'm pushing it in all the holes, and I've just got to go for it basically. When the black resin is in there, I can't see where the holes are, so I've just got to do it by touch. But a silicone tool definitely helps. I'm not too worried if I pour over the top of this mould, because I can always clear up overspill. But I do really want to try and eliminate as many bubbles as possible. As I can't squeeze the mould from underneath, I've got to use something to get that air out, and this is the best option. Now I know a lot of people have this dragon mould. I'm pretty much late to the party here, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. However, it is a challenge. It's not for the faint-hearted. I may have overfilled the mould slightly here because it's running over the wings and over a slightly part of the tail, so I decided to prop it up with lolly sticks just to keep the resin in the mould. And then of course it was overflowing a little in the centre, so I did end up taking some of the resin out. I think Julie doesn't fill her moulds up completely. So I just took a little bit of the resin out. I did actually remember to put my TC little silicone inlay in the back, just about remembered. And I did leave this to cure for 2 whole days. I was working anyway, and I thought it really needs it because some parts are really thin, and as it's a deep pour resin that takes longer to cure, it's going to cure even longer on really thin parts. So I left it for a full 2 whole days. So this is the moment of truth, the demolding. Now, I had no clue how tough the demolding was going to be for this. As it's a really soft, beautiful silicone, I thought it would be simple. But I hadn't anticipated how many bits needed to be pulled and pushed to relieve it from the mould. It's going swimmingly so far. And then I start realising actually that bit's in as well as that bit, and let's get the easy bits out first. So I'm struggling. I didn't use any isopropyl alcohol because it's not a deep mould, it's just a little awkward. It did take a little while to get this out, but it's just a case of patience and perseverance, and eventually it will come free. Aha! Aha! Gotcha! He is absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. The mould is so detailed and so beautiful. The last part of my demolding actually was out of focus, so I thought I'd just take extra footage to show you how beautiful this dragon is. It is stunning. I do have a few air pockets that were annoying. One was at the roof of his mouth, but I'm happy with that. It's fine, you can't really see it, it's inside. A couple of the little spines on his wings were missing, or they were not completely there. But other than that, he is gorgeous. But I wanted to add something else. I wanted to create teeth that you could see. So I thought I'd get some Deco Colour Premium Silver, decant a little, and colour the teeth in silver so that you could actually see them. Now, as I said, I do have a little hole in the top of his mouth, so some of his teeth are missing. But yeah, not every dragon is perfect, is he? It was a little difficult to get to half of his teeth because the tail was in the way, but I got there eventually. And I did colour a few other parts of him silver as well, just to highlight areas I thought needed a little bit more attention. I had no clue what the colour of his back and his tail would be, and it's absolutely stunning. I coloured the talons silver just to highlight the colour that I'd already put on. I did actually put his big wing horns on a silver too, a little bit on his nose and his eyes. But the mould is beautiful, the dragon is beautiful, and yeah, it does make sense to pour clear into this mould so you can see where the air is. Unless you've got an extra large pressure pot to put it in. Yeah, it makes him beautiful. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much, Julie, for sending me this mould and giving me the opportunity to make it. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you've got something out of it. I have a beautiful dragon and I am so pleased with it. Thanks so much for watching. Come back and see me next week because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting and bye for now.